right, my name is Jody Ellis, and I am the director of the ABLE National Resource Center, or ABLE NRC. And the ABLE NRC provides all the ABLE information that you would need in one place. We were founded in 2015. We are owned and managed by National Disability Institute, NDI, and over the past 10 years, we have curated a large collection of ABLE information. On our website, ablenrc.org, you will find reliable, objective information about ABLE plans, including plan comparisons, best practices, and strategies to increase your savings. And our mission is to educate and promote and support the positive impact that ABLE can make on the lives of millions of Americans with disabilities and their families. I am honored to have two well-respected presenters join us today, Lauri and David. Lauri Maloney is the director of the ABLE Savings Plan, Advocacy and Growth at Ascensus, and David Bell is the vice president of Vestwell State Savings. Ascensus is the program manager for 23 state ABLE plans, and Vestwell Savings is the program manager for 20 different ABLE plans. So combined, these entities will cover the enrollment process for most of the active ABLE plans that are nationwide. This session will cover who's who in the ABLE industry and some terminology to make sure we're all on the same page. I will cover a brief ABLE overview. We will talk about the role of the representative payee and best practices, and then we will move on to how to open and manage multiple ABLE accounts with the Ascensus enrollment process and the Vestwell enrollment process. So throughout the years that ABLE accounts have been opened, the ABLE program managers and the state ABLE plan representatives have made improvements to enhance the overall customer experience. And having the ability to open and manage multiple ABLE accounts is one of these features that will help entities improve their efficiency and oversight. And although this webinar is designed specifically for entities and organizations who are supporting multiple ABLE account owners, individuals, families, other professionals are welcome to attend this session to learn more about the tasks that the entities are performing related to assisting others with their ABLE account. And if you are an individual with a disability or a family member who is helping one person to open an account, the step-by-step enrollment process for individuals was covered in a previous ABLE NRC webinar, and it was titled Click, Apply, and Save. This was originally recorded in June of 2025. This webinar is available in our resource library, and we will also drop a direct link to that recording in the chat that you can access. Today, we're going to cover the process for the state ABLE plans that use the Ascensus and Vestwell platforms, and this does apply to the majority of the ABLE plans that are active across the country. And if you participate in an ABLE plan that does not use either one of these platforms, the ABLE enrollment process could vary slightly from what we cover today. On this slide, I would like to further explain the roles in ABLE. And this slide has a table of a short description and examples of some of the names and terminology that will be referenced today. ABLE accounts are regulated by the IRS, and ABLE is in the 529 section of the IRS code. There is an ABLE plan administrator, and this role is the state entity, the office, the person who sponsors the ABLE plan. They select the vendors. They're ensuring the compliance with state and federal law. And some examples are the comptroller for the state of New York, Virginia 529, which is now referred to as Commonwealth Savers for ABLE Now, the California Treasurer for CalABLE, and there's higher education boards and others. There's also a program manager, and the program manager manages the account setup. They do maintenance on the platform. They do the record keeping. So an example of record keeping could be filing the contribution and distribution tax forms to the IRS. And examples of program managers in the ABLE world is Ascensus and Vestwell, who you hear from today. There's also Orion Advisor Solutions, the Maine State Treasurer offices, and others. And then there are investment managers, and investment managers, they manage or provide ABLE investment portfolios and savings options. Examples of these entities are BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, Capital Group, Sallie Mae, Schwab, and others. And then last on the table, certainly not least, are our program banking institutions. These banking institutions provide the custodial banking service. They might provide a debit card access, and they are providing the FDIC insured savings options through ABLE. Examples of these are BNY Mellon, Fifth Third Bank, Bank of the West, Chase Bank, Bangor Savings Bank, and PNC Bank. And for the banking institutions, although they are providing the banking services, these services are provided online with the exception of Bangor Savings Bank. These terms are explained further in all of the ABLE plan disclosure booklets, and the examples that we provided in the table are not all inclusive. On the next slide, I'll talk about some other terminology that we'll be using today. And for the purposes of the webinar, we are using the following terms interchangeably. It could be entity, could be a disability service provider, both for-profit or nonprofit. Could be an organization, or it could be a state or county government agency. These companies or entities or organizations are assisting others with their ABLE accounts because they are designated and authorized to open, manage, and transact on behalf of the ABLE account owner. So now that we have the logistics out of the way, let's begin. What is ABLE? So ABLE is an acronym for Achieving a Better Life Experience. The ABLE Act was signed into law in December of 2014, and ABLE accounts have been opened since 2016. An ABLE account is a savings or an investment account that is designed exclusively for people with disabilities, and it is modeled after the 529 education plans and is often referred to as a 529A account. ABLE allows millions of people with disabilities the opportunity to save and invest money and grow wealth. It is basically a pathway for people with disabilities to save not only for their current, but also for their future needs. Why would you encourage or support individuals who you serve to have an ABLE account? The primary reasons are that the account offers tax-free savings. It provides a safeguard that protects eligibility for public benefits as it pertains to asset limitations. And it is a flexible financial tool in terms of contributions and expenses that can be made. And when we talk about the public benefit programs, this does include means-tested programs such as Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, and Medicaid. On the next slide, I will explain a little bit further about the asset protections. Up to $100,000 in savings is disregarded as a resource and will not affect supplemental security income. So if your funds are in a non-ABLE account, generally SSI for an individual caps you at $2,000 in savings, but if your funds are in an ABLE account, you could save up to $100,000. That's a big variance. And the great news is that any amount of ABLE savings up to the state plan's limit, and it depends on the plan, but it generally ranges from $235,000 to nearly $600,000. Any amount of those savings does not affect someone's eligibility for federal student aid, housing assistance, nutritional assistance programs, Social Security disability insurance, Medicare, and Medicaid benefits. And the Medicaid benefits do include Medicaid waiver services as well as Medicare savings programs. Additionally, SSA reports that being over asset limitations is one of the primary causes of overpayments. So if you save funds in an ABLE account, it can avoid and prevent SSA overpayment situations. Lastly, ABLE provides an opportunity for a change in mindset. Funds in a traditional bank account focus your energy in needing to spend down, versus funds in an ABLE account empower account owners to save up. On the next slide, there are more reasons to have an ABLE account. An ABLE account is associated with increased financial literacy, self-efficacy, choice-making, financial engagement, self-determination, and these outcomes in turn are associated with improved life satisfaction and increased goal-directed behavior. So there are many account owners that do not receive public benefits, and this slide is showing that an ABLE account is still a powerful tool to consider. And if you want these types of outcomes for the individuals that you serve, have discussions about ABLE. I also want to share that ABLE aligns with supported decision-making. The person with the disability is always the account owner. And this is on the next slide. If the account owner has the capacity to manage the account, even with some help, they will control the funds directly. So supported decision-making basically means that you're able to make choices while enlisting the support of others to help you as you are making these choices. And the ability to make choices is often referred to as self-determination. We all rely on others and ask people their opinions to help guide our actions. And we might not call this supported decision-making, but it is basically the same thing. And studies have shown that this leads to healthier, more independent lives. In the context of ABLE, we're talking about making choices around financial management. And please know that an ABLE account owner can ask others who they trust for information, ideas, and help. And those people that they are asking the opinion of and getting support of, they do not have to have a formal role in the ABLE account. They do not have to be authorized legal representatives or agents unless the account owner feels it's necessary or unless a legal decision has been made indicating that it is necessary. So if additional support is needed, others could be designated under a hierarchy of rule. One person can be designated to have full authority over the account if the account owner cannot manage it or chooses not to manage it, and they are often called the authorized legal representative. And an account owner or ALR can also grant others, and sometimes these are referred to as agents or interested parties, either limited or expanded permissions on the account, such as to view the account, contribute, change investments, withdraw funds, close an account. Those are some of the actions that the ALR and others who are granted those permissions can do. On the next slide, we talk about what is this ABLE account hierarchy. If an individual does need support with opening or managing their ABLE account, someone can be designated, and it should be in this order. Someone chosen by the person, or someone with legal authority or an agent under the power of attorney, a conservator, a legal guardian. Or next is spouse or parent or sibling or grandparent. And then last in the hierarchy is the Social Security Administration, SSA, representative payee. And the underlying rule is that there can only be one ALR at a time. So ABLE in the SSA representative payee, and I'll just say RP for short. SSA allows benefits to be deposited into an ABLE account. RPs who choose this option do have to follow the general rules for payees and are required to manage those benefits. In this case, the ABLE account owner must not have access to all of the ABLE funds because the RP has to manage those benefits. The account owner can practice managing money in this situation using prepaid debit card with limited access to ABLE funds to pay for QDEs, and ABLE can certainly be part of the person-centered financial planning process. There are some unique challenges when it comes to representative payee change. If the RP changes, SSA usually requires RPs to return the conserved funds to SSA for reissuance to the new RP. With ABLE accounts, though, on a case-by-case basis, SSA may permit the former payee to transfer the funds directly to the new RP. And RPs should contact SSA to discuss this option before making changes. And it is important to have communication with the Social Security Administration throughout, and it is also important to plan. And if SSA approves the transfer, the former RP does have to be removed, their name and access from the ABLE account. And if SSA does not approve the transfer, then the withdrawal and return of funds to SSA is considered a qualified disability expense. If the new RP decides to deposit those funds back into the ABLE account, it does count towards the annual contribution limit. So on the next slide, I'm going to finish up here by talking about what some of the best practices are. If there is a change in RP, we encourage you to advocate with the SSA to keep all the funds in the ABLE account. And the state plan program managers, such as Vestwell and Ascensus here today, they are willing to support organizations with this process. A RP may deposit benefits into a non-ABLE checking account to pay for all the current needs, and then deposit extra or unused funds into the ABLE account at the end of each month to save for future needs. RPs who save benefits in an ABLE account are encouraged to view SSA's best practices to ensure integrity and accuracy. And then also it's important to consider the ABLE accounts owners' best interests and protect their rights. And there are resources that you can consult with, such as the National Disability Rights Network. So with that, I know that was a lot of information. It's laying the foundation for what you are going to learn today from both Ascensus and Vestwell. So I would like to turn over the presentation to Lauri Maloney.
Thank you so much, Jody. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. So go to the next slide, please. So this is just a quick slide sharing, and I know Jody mentioned this earlier on, the 23 states across the country that Ascensus is the program manager for. And you can see we have some wonderful partners here, and it's a privilege to work with them. So as Jody spoke about a little bit earlier, last month we did talk about the two ways to set up an ABLE account, right? So last month was all about the one account, and that's individuals opening an ABLE account for themselves or on behalf of someone else. Today we're going to talk about the multiple accounts, right? So this is a one-time registration to open and manage multiple ABLE accounts, basically all in one place. So Ascensus launched this capability last fall. Adoption is going really well. We have 8 programs today, and we're continuing to roll out additional state plans with 67 entities and managing over 2,700 accounts. So we're going to talk a little bit about some few key pieces of information before really getting into the process of registering an entity and actually beginning to manage multiple ABLE accounts. So the first one is who can own an account, right? So there really are two key eligibility criteria that must be met. The first one is their disability was present before the age of 26. And one of the following, right? So they are eligible for supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance, or they have a medically determinable physical or mental impairment with marked severe functional limitation that basically is at least 12 continuous months. Or they have identified their condition on the Social Security Administration's list of compassionate allowances conditions. So again, one of these three things plus the age of disability's onset, and you could be on aid, but you don't necessarily have to, as having aid is not a requirement. Now, the great news here, and you can see at the bottom of this slide, is as of January 1st, 2026, the age limit will be bumping up to 46. So what is an entity management dashboard? So it's a system that does manage multiple ABLE accounts through a one-time registration, right? So basically it's all in one place. The benefits of the entity management dashboard are it reduces time and manual tracking. It's at a glance view, right? So it's pretty simplified. It provides the ability to open new accounts and upload any required documentation you may have. It allows for single sign-on, and it has enhanced functionality to add and remove other entity team members. Next slide. So what are some of the key terms? So we're going to talk a little bit about entity, control person, and authorized representatives. So really an entity is a company or organization that is designed to act as an authorized individual. So for one or more ABLE eligible individuals. So that could be power of attorney, guardian or conservator, representative payee appointed by the SSA, and they include for-profits, nonprofits, government agencies. So, and let's talk a little bit about team members. So we're going to be talking a lot about the control person. So that really is the person who will manage and direct the entity, such as CEO, COO, president, and so on. The authorized representatives, right? So these are people that are really assigned by the control person who will actually open, manage, and view the ABLE accounts. So I'll be breaking down the steps for better clarification. So there are three key steps here. And so before you actually begin, we want to make sure that you're using one email address that is monitored by multiple people, and that you're also using a phone number that can receive multi-factor authentication. So the three key steps are: one, to create a login credentials; two is to complete the entity registration and submit it; and three, which everybody loves to get to this stage, is add and manage ABLE accounts. So step one, part of it is create your login. So we're looking for the control person to actually put in their login credentials. So things that you would normally think of, which is name, work email address, phone number, and creating a password. And the next piece is providing entity information. So we're looking for you to tell us a little bit about the entity, right? So the name, the type, the email address, and the phone number. So this is a great step here. So then go ahead and submit the entity information. So you can see below, it shows that that was submitted and that there are a few other steps that we need folks to complete. So you can see here that we're looking for folks to log into the dashboard and upload the entity certification form. So you can see that the logging into the entity dashboard requires multi-factor authentication. You can actually see that over to the right. And that the next piece of this is to complete the entity certification form and have that form notarized. So if you look way over to the right here, you can see notarization on that form, and then also to upload the form. Next, we ask that folks manage team members. So it's really the control person here, right? So we're looking for them to provide their profile. What is their job title, their date of birth, their social security number and address. And then we're asking them to go in and identify who their team members are, right? So once again, the name, the work email address, job title, and type of access level. So we do have 3 types of access level. The first one is read-only. The second one is signatory, which allows team members to open, manage, and view ABLE accounts. And then the last one is team member management, and that is signatory access level plus the ability to add, remove, and edit authorized representatives. So in this particular case, the entity system allows for 1, checks and balances. So for example, if needed, one team member can go back in and verify what another team member put into the system, and that each team member can have their own login versus sharing a user ID and password. So next, we ask that you submit the entity registration for plan review. So this now goes back to the compliance team to verify all the information. And as you can imagine, people are concerned about security, so this is an important part of the process. We ask that you allow up to 7 business days from registration for approval, but on average, that's 1 to 2 days. Okay, so step 3 is adding and managing ABLE accounts. So I've split this up into 2. So right now we're going to talk about adding new ABLE accounts. So the great thing here is it is the same process as adding one ABLE account, yet all under one login. So the key steps here are enter the account owner information, choose your investment options, and pick a contribution method. Okay, so next is gathering basic information for the account owner and or authorized individual. So once again, some information that you're thinking that you would probably need, like permanent address, birthday, social security number, TIN, EIN, driver's license, and so on, account owner's disability, and then the basis under which an ABLE eligibility is declared. So once again, that was reviewed a little bit earlier. But opening an account is a quick and easy process once you know what information you need to provide. So that's why we encourage people to gather the basic information before they start. The next piece is determining how the account owner would like to use the ABLE account and choose investment options. So really ask them these questions, which is what disability expenses do they want to save for? So is this ongoing? Is this saving for a rainy day? Maybe it's a larger purchase for a longer time to save, or maybe it's all of the above. The next question is, when will they need the money, right? So do they need to pay it in the next several months? Is it 1 to 3 years, or is it longer? And then what is their risk tolerance? So, that's something that they really need to think about, right? So you can see over to the right-hand side that we have anything from moderate to aggressive options. And then we ask that folks pick a contribution method. So how will money be contributed to the account? Is that via a bank account? So that could be a single contribution. It could be a reoccurring contribution via paycheck, through payroll direct deposit, or a check. So congratulations. You are now able to manage your ABLE accounts, right? So I think what's great about this is being able to manage those accounts. You can transact on each account. You can view the list of accounts. You can see the status on each account. You can view the balances, and you can view statements and transaction confirmations like profile changes, for example, an address update, financial confirmations, tax forms, and so on. And then for reports, you can look at status, list of accounts, account balances, withdrawals and deposits, etc. And we'll also, what's great is we do allow for customization. And that's it. Just want to say thank you so much for your time and really appreciate you attending. And I will now hand this over to David Bell from Vestwell. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for spending time with us today on this. I feel like I'm lucky that I get to go after Jody presented ABLE in general, and then of course Lauri went through, just because some of the information has already been covered. But we're excited to go through the process that Vestwell and then the states that we work with have created when it comes to an organization or an entity, managing ABLE accounts on behalf of the individuals that they serve. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Vestwell is honored. Jody mentioned this earlier on in the presentation. Vestwell's honored to be able to work with some incredible ABLE programs. You can see those on the slides here. Those represent 20 different ABLE plans from 19 different states. So there's actually 19 different states. One of the states has 2 ABLE plans, one for their state residents and then one for a national plan. We can go to the next slide. We, a while back, started working with some of our states, predominantly with the state of Maryland, which we're going to kind of highlight today in some of the examples that we pulled out, to develop out an opportunity for organizations to serve as authorized representatives, which basically just means the organization is opening and managing ABLE accounts for the people that they serve. We did this because we realized that there were many people that did not have another person in their life to be able to manage the account on their behalf. And yet that means just they weren't able to open up the ABLE account at all. So we knew how important this was. We also realized that organizations are doing an incredible job supporting people with disabilities and those they work with, not allowing them to offer ABLE accounts was difficult. So we started the authorized representative opportunity for organizations and entities a while back. We currently have 517 organizations that serve as authorized representatives. They serve over 19,000 accounts, and these are real life people that have ABLE accounts because of these organizations. And these people have saved over $170 million. This program is growing drastically, which is a good thing. We want more people to have access to ABLE accounts. In the last year alone, there were over 300 organizations that enrolled, serving more than 11,000 of these ABLE accounts. So we're excited to offer this. We're really excited that Ascensus is offering this as well, because we know that many of you that are listening here are supporting people with disabilities, and we want to do everything we can to make it easy for you to allow you to open up ABLE accounts for these people. We can go to the next slide, please. If some of you saw the previous webinar where we walked through how an individual person or a loved one opened up an ABLE account, this is going to look pretty similar. We tried to create that same easy to follow, seamless, streamlined process for our organizations or entities as well. But there's a couple different steps. You see on the left-hand side, registration is easy. Basically, we collect information from the organization. We collect information on different officers from that organization, people who are going to be part of the process of managing the ABLE accounts. You set up the first ABLE account on behalf of your people you serve, or many, and then you start managing those accounts. As I mentioned before, Maryland ABLE was one of the first organizations that we worked with, first state ABLE plans that we worked with to establish this. So I use them as an example here. We can go to the next slide. It's an easy online process. Just wanted to remind everybody that we take accessibility really seriously here. All of our information systems, websites are ADA compliant. We constantly review and update for that. We also offer the entire enrollment flow, management of the accounts, program disclosures in a number of different languages. English is the source of truth that we're working from, but we wanted to make sure that individuals who choose or need to transact in different languages have that opportunity. We can go to the next slide. So first, as I mentioned, we collect information on the organization itself. We'll go through a little bit of what that looks like here. The first thing that we do is we provide the information needed so that that organization is ready to enroll and get through the process simple and easy. So we do ask everybody to kind of open up and look through the important information on what it means to be an organizational representative individual. We also have marketing websites or websites that list this information for each of our state ABLE plans, but this is actually in the part of the enrollment process, just to make sure they fully understand how this process is going to work. We can go to the next slide. We also want to make sure that they have everything that they need at hand and they're ready to go. We would hate for them to get through the enrollment process just to find out that they don't have a piece of information and need to stop and come back. So we provide that information here depending on what type of organization they are and what documents they might need. We can go to the next slide. So basically, when someone starts the process, they're basically confirming that they read that information that I just shared, that they're ready to go, and then they start the process. So we can go to the next slide. Pretty simple. This is a snapshot of our online portal. We are literally just asking for the organization's name, some information like the EIN number, their tax number, phone numbers, etc. We can go to the next slide. We ask the organizations to identify the type of the organization. As you see here, there's three main types. There's nonprofits, there's for-profits, and there's government agencies. We have all of these organizations now. We have a good number of nonprofit organizations that might be set up to support individuals in their holistic needs, and ABLE is just part of it. We have some for-profit organizations. They might serve as organizational representative payees, or others that have chosen to be organizational authorized representatives for our programs. We also have government agencies. These might be the Department of Human Services that are supporting foster youth who experience disabilities, or even adults that experience disabilities. We're working with them as well. Some very large programs that are supporting a lot of great individuals. So we're asking them to select the type of organization, because based on that type of organization, we're going to be requiring slightly different documentation and information. So we can go to the next slide. Once the organization fills out that basic organizational information, they basically review the information and move to the next page, which basically means they've set themselves up as an organization itself. The next step of the process, which we can go to, really is when they're going to be assigning the different officers or individuals who are going to be working with the individuals themselves. We start with the primary agent. This is the main person that's going to be the oversight of kind of managing the different ABLE plans. We're gathering a little bit of information from them. In the most cases, we can go to the next slide. In the most case, that person is also the controlling officer. Basically, Lauri was mentioning the different levels of authorization for individuals. The controlling officer is the main person within the organization, usually like a chief financial officer. If it's a government agency, it could be the executive director if it's a nonprofit, or some leader who is then controlling that structure for the organization. Many times the controlling officer and the primary agent are the same people, so it's easy. You can just click that it's the same person and the information is brought over. If it's not, you can enter that information separately, or you can just move forward with the controlling officer and add the other people's information later so that they can add that sensitive data about themselves at a later time. We can go to the next slide. In addition to the controlling officer, for all of you organizations listening in that's kind of overseeing this thing holistically, and the primary agent, which may or may not be the same person, we also allow for up to 2 different secondary agents to be added. These are additional individuals at your organization that have slightly less control over changing your organization's registration, but can still assist in managing people's ABLE accounts. We can go to the next slide. Once we have the organizational information, and then we have the information on the people within your organization that are going to be helping to manage these accounts, we then move forward on just helping you open your first account. This is very similar for those of you that may have watched the webinar that happened in June. But basically, we're just gathering information on the beneficiary and the account owner. That's the same person, as you know, when it comes to ABLE plans. We can go to the next slide. From there, we're asking you to select the eligibility of that individual, why they're eligible for an ABLE savings plan. We've already covered this and happy to cover it in greater detail. Of course, there's great information on all of our websites as well. But you select their eligibility. We can go to the next slide. I put this one in here, part of the IRS regulations and the federal legislation that passed for ABLE requires us to collect diagnosis codes. These are interesting. I don't think everybody walks around understanding their diagnosis code. We're trying to simplify this as much as possible. There are various codes listed with individual disability types listed below them. We also allow you to search for your disability. Basically, just get as close as possible. Sometimes people have multiple disabilities, and that's okay. You're just selecting the code that best fits. We can go to the next slide. There's a relationship to the account owner. I believe that this was covered a bit by Lauri. Basically, the organization is selecting why they have the ability to oversee the accounts for the individuals. And there's a whole list of things that make them eligible to be part of the authorized representative for the ABLE account. In this case, I selected representative payee as the example because we find that a lot of our organizations that serve as authorized representative do tend to be the representative payee for those individuals as well. We can go to the next slide. Communications preferences, you get to select. The organizations can choose. Most organizations choose the electronic options, but they have multiple opportunities there. They also have the opportunity, this is a newer enhancement to our systems. You see the last box at the bottom. You can actually choose to be notified via SMS notification when certain things happen on the account. Maybe a new bank account is added or a new payee, or maybe a withdrawal over a certain amount, and you can decide what that certain dollar amount is. It's just another security measure. We take security very, very seriously for these ABLE plans, as we know other program managers do as well. Go to the next slide. We are wrapping up this part of the process. Just want to walk through the most exciting part of this, the best part of this, and that's the management of these accounts. You went through the process of registering your organization, setting the proper agents or the people that are going to support, and you started the process of opening an account. You now have the ability to manage those accounts. In this case, this would be an individual's dashboard. So we just wanted to highlight for you, you can manage each of the ABLE accounts under your control individually through an individual dashboard like this. This is very similar to a person that has an account just for themselves or a loved one who opened up one for them. So you can do it this way, and you can basically do anything you need to do with this account. You can set a goal. You can see how much money's come in, normal contributions or able to work contributions. You can sign up for the prepaid card, etc. It's all right here. But those of you that are organizations are often managing many, many accounts. We have organizations that manage hundreds of accounts on behalf of the individuals that they support. So we go to the next slide. We also built into our online system your ability to manage bulk types of account management. So as you see here, instead of seeing that nice fancy dashboard, which you can see if you click on each of those accounts, but you can also see it at a stepped back level. A list of all of your accounts, basically where they're at, the created date, the current balance, the beneficiary, etc., any status that they're in. And from here, you can do a whole host of different things. We can click to the next slide. We created the ability to bulk upload new accounts into your system. We had, I believe, I saw the director of the Arizona ABLE Savings Program on the webinar list. We worked with an organization. It was actually a government organization that was an organizational authorized representative in Arizona. And we immediately uploaded over 300 individuals that they serve directly into the ABLE plan system. And it happened within minutes. They used a spreadsheet that they were able to download from their systems. We worked with them and they uploaded it right into our system. And it was a success in uploading over 300 accounts instantaneously. We work with organizations to continue to enhance our systems as well. So organizations that have ideas, bring them to us. We work with our engineers to create those opportunities. And that was an example there. We also give organizations the opportunity of doing bulk contributions into programs. Sometimes they want to do a contribution for each individual account. If they want to upload a large amount of money and then just outline exactly how much of that amount goes to each of the accounts, we have that system available to it. It dramatically streamlines your workflow. This slide's a good representation that we wanted to put the control of you producing reports right in your hands as an organization. So we have a variety of different reports that you can pull at any time so that you can utilize them for your own management. Maybe you need to send them off to another agency like the Social Security Administration or more. And organizations that need customized reports can work directly with Vestwell through their state ABLE program. And we'll make sure to cover that with them and get them what they need. I believe I only have one more slide, and that's is specific to Social Security direct deposits. I'm bringing this up because organizations do tend to utilize this feature, but you don't have to. We worked directly with the Social Security Administration. It took a while. It's a big organization, but we created a system and a process to allow individuals that choose and want this to have their Social Security benefits go directly into their ABLE account and utilized from there. So we have an easy online system for that as well for organizations or individuals that want to set that up. Jody, thank you for this opportunity. It's incredible to see all these great organizations represented in the attendee list here. And please work with your ABLE state program to establish yourself as an organizational authorized representative. We want to make sure that we're supporting you in all the needs that you have, because you're doing such incredible work for the people that you support. Thank you, Jody.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, David. I appreciate the detail that you and Lauri shared with us, especially the screenshots so that organizations and the control person and agents that are authorized to act on behalf of that organization can kind of get a feel for what that platform experience would look like as they are managing multiple accounts. The common message that I heard from both of you is that you have made it easier for entities to open and manage multiple ABLE accounts. Our team today was so busy. We have answered over 170 of your questions. If you do have questions about your state plan's process, I really encourage you to contact the customer service of your state plan administrator directly, because representatives for those state administrators are really going to be the experts on the features and the process of that specific state plan. So they all have customer service numbers and are available to answer additional questions that you have beyond the questions that we were able to answer in today's presentation. So next, I am going to scroll through a few resource slides. I will not be covering the slides in much detail because of interest of time, but I do want to highlight them briefly just so you have an understanding of the different types of resources that you can find in our resource center. So I will begin with sharing the ABLE information flyer. This is the back and front of a flyer that is downloadable. And for those of you who work in an office or a service provision setting, we kindly request that you would make hard copies available to the individuals that you serve, their family members, visitors, the staff members. As you know, many disabilities are invisible, and you never know when this informational flyer could be of significant help to someone or their family member. On the next slide, you will see a screenshot of ABLE NRC's homepage, ablenrc.org. And on our website, you will find frequently asked questions. There's decision guides. We have the informational flyer. You can meet our ABLE ambassadors. We have a cadre of ABLE account owners and their family members who share their experience with ABLE accounts and encourage others that they can also use ABLE to save for now and into the future. We have podcast episodes. We have our webinar recordings. We have achievable newsletters that can all be accessed online. On the next slide, we outline some of the topics of our decision guides, and we have a variety of different topics about eligibility and benefits, finding funds, qualified disability expenses, and really understand that there are multiple pathways to having a stable financial future and positive outcomes. And these guides help with effective decision making. We also have toolkits. There is a service provider toolkit that we have available that you will find helpful and of interest. We have pre-drafted forms so you don't have to reinvent material. This is especially helpful for possibly like human resources could use it, as well as staff members in a service provider organization, supervisors, leadership. And we will soon have an ABLE NRC toolkit for veterans that is going to be published later this year. NDI, National Disability Institute, also has other resources that you may want to access. There is an American Dream Employment Network that works with Social Security Administration ticket holders to ensure a successful return to work. We have a financial resilience center. There's a small business hub. If any of these are interests, NDI has these resources available to help you. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to learn more about the ABLE enrollment process for service providers. And until we connect again, all of us at the ABLE National Resource Center, Ascensus, and Vestwell wish you and the individuals that you support a healthy financial journey. Thank you.